Hi there. Welcome to the very first episode of Busy Bees and Brews. Tonight, joining me is Tim and Sophie. Hi there. How are you guys doing? What's brewing?
Hi, Hillary. Well,
Good morning, Hillary.
yeah,
So today
thank
we
you.
have our very first cup of coffee in the morning because it is morning here. And today we have a delightful Sagada coffee, which is native to the Philippines, high up in the
Mm,
Luzon Mountains. This is a mix of medium and dark roast, brewed as an espresso and made Americano. But Sagada beans are one of the finest in the Philippines and a wonderful treat this morning.
For,
absolutely. What a great way to start your day.
for sure, yeah.
So, Tim, Sophie, tell us what exactly you guys do for We Are.
So I'm Tim. I'm a co-founder and CEO for We Are. I predominantly spend my time with strategy and on the business side. And
Hi, guys. My name is Sophie. I'm the managing partner and COO of We Are Solutions. I take care of the daily operations together with my amazing core team in the Philippines. And at the same time, I work on business development. So, which is why I'm usually here, guys, in Buffalo for the next 6 to 8 weeks.
So nice to have you here on our very first episode.
great to be here.
Yep, awesome.
Um, who do you feel this podcast is really for? Is it for us? Is it for all those young folks out there? Is it to all those who want to be a VA?
Right. So we've created this podcast to actually educate about taking on a VA or a virtual assistant, because whenever we have those conversations with, business people, whether it be here in Western New York or outside of, Western New York, the idea is always like, okay, it's a virtual assistant, and they think like, oh, it's AI because it's the age of AI. But we always tell them that it's a person. And if it is a person who's working remotely, they have second thoughts, especially when we say that they're from the Philippines.
Yeah, and I would also
Mm,
say the Buffalo market in particular is it's about a mid-level market. The use of remote employees, virtual assistants, isn't as prevalent here as if you went to somewhere like New York, Chicago,
mm.
San Francisco. So we find that a number of our potential clients that we run into have never had the experience of working with that uh, remote
You're correct.
workforce and
Mm,
understanding the benefits of that. And that's a big part of the education is the benefits of utilizing a global workforce, how it can
hmm
you can leverage the clock and achieve more throughout your business day, and also just access great talent.
mm. Wow. Accessing great talent from the Philippines. Well, what were you seeing in business owners that made you think that this talk is very important, Tim?
I think the biggest element, like I said, it is the lack of experience of working with that global resource. And we have had clients who have utilized remote VAs before. The vast majority of them that we've talked to have had a positive experience, particularly when working with a Philippine VA. I know we're going to talk more about why we established we are and why it is established in the Philippines. But I think for those that don't have that experience, it really is introducing them to how do I use this resource? And I think that's the biggest thing our early clients struggle with, particularly
Hmm
those small businesses, solopreneurs. In many cases, we end up being employee one
One.
or employee one half. And we
hmm
see a lot of people struggle on how do I utilize this person? How do I delegate? Particularly with those
hmm
small business owners, because they're so used to doing everything. And we're here to tell them we can free you from that.
Yeah.
That's right. Micromanaging is real sometimes for businesses. So, what problems were you originally trying to solve at the onset of We Are?
Can I share? Well, the story behind that is actually Tim's own personal experience while he was working in India, and he was thinking about he didn't want to work on his business trip expenses. And that's
Mm,
why, a lot of business, the little things that most business owners don't want to work on was why we came up with We Are Solutions. Like, why
mhm,
can't, it's like for example for Tim, that's so above his pay grade, why is he's still working on little things like that. So we, and then of course based on my experience as well, as we were building VR, um, actually the virtual assistant side of the business was not the first thing that we really thought of. There was another product that we were working on, but I could feel the the pressure, the stress
Mm-hmm.
working on building a business by myself, even if Tim was there to support me. Like the everyday operations was all about me. So we thought, like, why don't we create a support system, a service that will help business owners or alleviate business owners with the little things that are falling down the cracks but are still important for their business, so that they can focus on what they do best and then we'll do the rest.
Mm-hmm.
That has always been like our, somehow, our tagline. Yeah.
Do you mean that Tim needed this first before?
Indeed.
Is that what you're trying to say? He
Yeah.
needed this before. He needed to delegate some tasks before, and so I realized, oh, we can do this.
Indeed. I'll touch on that a little bit more. The story about I hate doing trip expense reports. It's tedious. It takes me hours, and it's like I
Mm-hmm.
used to be able to go hand this to a secretary and say, "Take care of this." Done in 30 seconds on my end, and now it takes me hours. So I really love to be able to hand this off. But on top of that, I had this concept when I did my first expat in India,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had the opportunity to work globally. So I've lived in India, I've lived in the Philippines, I've worked all over Europe and Asia, Middle East. The greatest experience that I've had in that global journey is recognizing talent, right? A lot of people in the US never make it outside the US, or if they do, they perhaps take a week vacation somewhere in the world and come back, and they never really get to understand the different cultures, the strength of the people, the talent there. So when I was in India and started with this concept, it's like here I am in the call center of the world. Um, this would be a great opportunity to start something like this. And conditions just weren't right at that time. And then when I
Mm-hmm.
got to the Philippines, that was only amplified. My experience working there was second to none with the Philippine workforce. I have never seen a workforce that is, number one, got such a high work ethic, extremely engaged, very adaptable to change. High English language skills, high education levels, and the culture. Number one, it's very warm and welcoming and friendly, and number two, it is very intimate with U.S. culture. So it was the perfect fit, the perfect time, the perfect solution to start We Are.
That is so good to hear. Well, you've seen a lot since you traveled a lot and you've worked a lot in many countries. What patterns were you noticing across clients? Well, your clients are mostly from Buffalo, but
Yeah.
you can see a lot of trends as well in many countries that you've been to. So, what were some of the patterns across these countries, or say in Buffalo first?
I'm going to talk about it in terms of where a business is in its maturity, right? You
Mm-hmm.
start with a solopreneur or a small business owner, and when you start out, your business is everything. You live it 24/7. You do everything. You don't wear multiple hats. You wear thousands of hats, right? So a lot of those early business owners are struggling to understand how can I offload some of this and really put my effort to where it counts. A lot of times that's business development,
Hmm.
or it could be if someone has a specialty product and let's say they're a outstanding baker. They want to be in front of the oven. They don't want to be doing payroll. They don't want to be mapping their contacts.
Content. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
with those small companies, the trend that I notice there is people trying to figure out how do I make more time to do the things that I want to do. So that was
Mm-hmm.
number one. Then as we get into a little bit larger size business, maybe they're in the 20 to 30 employees. Now they're trying to get creative and still conscious of their employees, but how do I
Mm-hmm.
start filling in the little gaps that I need to, or how do I start adding capacity in a way that meets the business objectives? And then for our larger clients, I think our larger clients tend to have more experience with the global workforce, and so
Mm-hmm.
they see the value, they welcome that value, and they're looking to build that international resource team.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what does real delegation look like from a VA from the Philippines?
I think real delegation is what do you call this now? That they are really ready to hand off their processes to someone else. Because I think that a lot of the businesses, well, just like what Tim mentioned, majority of our clients are actually either solopreneurs or small business owners.
Mm-hmm.
So they still have challenges of what, number one, what to delegate and why should they delegate? Because
Mm-hmm.
like in their mind, like, oh, I can still do this. But in reality, it's already eating up most of their time. They're not
Mm-hmm.
really focused on revenue generating activities, which,
Mm-hmm.
why they were in that business in the first place. And then why they should delegate. Again, it's like I still have 40 plus hours in my week. I can still cram this up. So real delegation means that you are really mentally ready to hand
Mm-hmm.
off the little things that really do not put value or generate income um for your business. For
Mm-hmm.
example, maybe a classic example would be like social media management and
Mm-hmm.
updating their website. When we
Mm-hmm.
started out in here in Western New York, particularly in Orchard Park, where Tim is from, most of the business owners wanted to work with us because social media management and website management were eating up their time. And
Mm-hmm.
those are things that can actually be delegated to someone else rather than them doing it themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
probably the third part there is that they shouldn't be afraid to delegate because
Mm-hmm.
at the back of their heads they're thinking like, I know I can do this better, I know my business better. But if you
Mm-hmm.
trust a person to do this for you, then that becomes real delegation.
That is the biggest hurdle that we see people having. It's letting go of the control, and it's human nature,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You have this intimate understanding of your vision for your business, and it's human nature. Just get out of the way. Let me do it. I know what I want.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So we actually have an onboarding guide for new clients that is specifically targeted to how to start your delegation journey,
Yeah.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people needed to be guided down that, and it's not just small business owners. I've spent the majority of my career in a corporate environment and trying to watch first time managers learn how to delegate tasks. It's a huge hurdle for us to overcome mentally. So there we try and guide them along that path, and here's how you can start letting go of control. And we
Mm-hmm.
also have tips in there of here's how you can get the most
Yeah.
value out
Yeah.
of your VA, right? Because there is an interaction. VAs aren't necessarily throw a task over the wall
Mm.
and get it back. There are certainly projects and opportunities for that to happen, but when we see clients really exercising their VA to their fullest, they have that engagement. They'll hand off a task, they'll give guidance, they'll give quick feedback, and then we see just a tremendous relationship build.
And
Okay.
yeah,
And
sorry. No, I was just gonna add, Hillary, I think that that's a huge thing. Like real delegation means that it's a collaborative environment, not just for our VAs, but also for our business owners or the businesses that we work with. Once they, what we want is that, or what we hope for moving
mm-hmm.
forward is that our VAs become truly members or true members of the business owners team, that we grow
Mm-hmm.
with the businesses that we work with.
I have a question. Is delegating a guarantee to success for the business?
You want to take that one?
I well I will base it from my experience and also
Mm-hmm.
probably maybe touch on a little bit about how it has helped most of our or some of our longest long-term clients. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say yes, delegation is a path to success, especially for business owners, because we should not treat ourselves as a one-man show. And based
Mm-hmm.
on my experience, having an awesome team in We Are Solutions, like our core team, I now have team members who I can say like, hey, can you do this can you do this for us? And I don't just think of things by myself anymore. There is, as I've mentioned earlier, there is already a collaborative environment. um, you know it's more of really a support system, so delegating helps. And I actually had a question from one of our long-term clients. She's had her business for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
However, she is still, if I would use, if sorry for my term, but she's still a control freak. She still has challenges delegating tasks or trusting. Maybe let's just use the word trust, right? Trusting
Mm-hmm.
her team members that they can actually accomplish things when she is away. So I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned to her, so she asked me, like, Sophie, how are you able to build your business even when you're away? Because I do travel back and forth between the Philippines and Buffalo. And I told her, I trust my team that when, even if I'm in the air, things will still go the way that they do. So, yeah, delegation will definitely help the business grow, the business flourish, the business owner will be less stressed. And probably the last example that I can give would be one of our long-term clients as well. She when she took us on, she said like, Sophie, I don't think I have 40 hours to delegate, or yeah, 40 hours to delegate to my VA. And I told her like, just try it out. And then 2 weeks after that, she calls me and says like she wants to hire her VA full time. And then 2 months after that, she hired her second VA full time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that's that's delegation at its best.
I believe so. Yes. Okay. So more than 40 hours. Wow. Must be a huge business now. Thanks
Yeah.
to you. Thanks to We Are.
Yep.
So, what does We Are look like today compared before? How many years have We Are been already in this business?
Tim, would you want to see how, like, compare?
So I want to. So we've been we are actually started a little bit early in that, but we've been working with VAs for the last 4 to 5 years. And I want to say, how has the business changed? Number one, we've seen our clientele double every year.
Mm-hmm.
And a big portion of that, we really started making headway when we started bringing Sophie here to Buffalo and let the potential clients experience her leadership, her personality, get a feel for what a real Filipino is like.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so that was a tremendous enabler, particularly for the first and second year. And in the years since that, we actually see more growth coming from referrals and
Yep.
word of mouth,
Mm-hmm.
people who are very satisfied with our service. I think from a business strategy perspective, I think we've dialed in a bit more into our core areas that we support. We do offer the capability to offer diverse services beyond our core.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, our main function in the Philippines is to unite talent with need,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we have a client that says, "Hey, I have this very specialized need," we actually did a show, trade show in New York
Mm.
City a number of years
Mm-hmm.
ago, where we had a construction company saying, "I need a
Mm-hmm.
project manager for a construction activity that I have going on in Manhattan." And we're like, "You realize our employees are in the Philippines?" And they're like, "Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
all they need to be able to do is make phone calls and shepherd people."
Yeah.
So we can look for different kinds of talent sets, and really help link those people to that kind of talent.
Yeah.
Um,
And I was just gonna add as well. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the difference between when we were starting out and where we are today, I think we are braver and savvier when it comes to interacting and working with our clients. To Tim's point, when we were in Manhattan, I actually looked when he said yes to that engineer. I said like, "What are you talking about? We can't do that." But today it's like, yes, we can do it. And I'm actually very confident with our team
Mm-hmm.
and the talent that we have in the Philippines that we can find someone like that, who can, help the potential clients that we have here. And I want to add to what Tim said, like majority of the clients that, not really majority, but we find a lot of our satisfied clients referring us to their friends who have their own
Mm-hmm.
businesses, or to anyone who actually find, I was speaking with one of our clients a few days ago, and she said that she mentioned us to her hairdresser. So
Mm-hmm.
that was like, okay, that's wonderful. It's like word of mouth is still the best marketing. So that was really great. Yeah.
I
That's
think the
right.
other I think the other element of what's changed, I think we've also grown tremendously in our processes,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
and our structure. We've learned our lessons along the way and how we can provide the best support to our clients.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everybody's human. At times, things don't always go perfectly well. Um, we put a lot of effort into matching our resources with our clients. Quite frequently, we give our clients an opportunity to interview a number of candidates that they'd like to work for their team. And so we find that the developing of some of those processes and how we adapt to our client environment has grown significantly and has led to a higher satisfaction.
Can you tell us some of the clients that you have right now, like the variety or the vast majority, or an idea of the clients that you serve nowadays?
Yeah. So nowadays, we're actually still supporting, majority would be solopreneurs, mostly here in Western New York. Some of that we have like an owner of like summer camps. Then there's another one. The farthest that we actually have right now is in California. They're a lighting company, so we do customer support for them. I think we have two or three digital marketing companies we're working
Mm-hmm.
with as well. So yes, it's a mix of different industries. There is no
Mm-hmm.
specific industry that we work with, because I think that what's wonderful about um, our service and our business is that we can support any type of industry.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, and what's interesting is as well is that there we do receive phone calls who ask us like, are you still accepting clients? And that's actually a wonderful question to be asked. And I say this, yep, every day, 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
We accept new clients. Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think from an industrial lens,
Mm-hmm.
um, we service clients in the financial markets.
Yep. Financial markets.
We service clients in that supporting immigration activities.
Yep.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Sophie mentioned digital media, um, web developers. Um, we have a number of client experiences where we're supporting, as Sophie mentioned, sales support, whether it's cold calling, warm calling, lead follow-up, etc. So you're right. The product is malleable to an industry, right? So we've
Mm-hmm.
had recent discussions with medical companies, and medical remote medical billing is a very large field.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk to clients that have very particular needs, like medical billing's one, insurance industry is another,
Yep.
that frequently uses outsourced labor. Um, those systems are well matured, well in place, and highly adaptable for our team to just get on board. We train them up, and they become part of that global team for those clients.
For the next coming years, say 5, 10 years, what kind of clients do you want to serve aside from these that you've already mentioned?
I will give it to him.
Aside from the engineering, like
We actually had a strategy offsite last year where we talked about our blue ocean strategy, and really when we take a look at that blue ocean, what is blue ocean? It's that space that your competitors aren't, that you can bring a unique product to the market, or a unique service in our case. So that was a big focus on what is it that we're bringing that is unique. So we obviously believe in the strength of our workforce. We believe in our mission and vision, which is really to be that intimate support for our clients and for our team to become part of their team. Sophie mentioned that earlier, and that's a big part of when we talk to our clients is once your VA is up and running, they are your employee, right? They are part of your team. You direct them as you will. So as we take a look out into the next 3 to 5 years, certainly we are focusing on number one, maintaining our base with the clients that we have. One of the great joys that we have that we talk about frequently between Sophie and I is the joy of this business because it's twofold. Number one, our clients that are in early business development, it is such a joy to be part of their growth journey and to see how their business has grown and expanded over the years that we're working for them. And that just feels really good that we're enabling these businesses to do more than what they could have without us. On the other side is we also take a look at it from our employee base, and we take a look at the number of jobs and incomes and family support that we're providing for our team in the Philippines and watching that workforce grow. So we definitely want to keep our base with our smaller, more intimate clients, but also build into that level where we're servicing larger clients, where we can be placing 2, 3, 10, 20 VAs at a time and becoming really a part of a broader network there. From an industry lens, we don't necessarily have a specific industry that we're targeting because of the adaptability and malleability of the product.
And that's what makes this product great. That's what makes we are great. So we are ready for every kind of client and opportunity that is out there. So, well, what are we expecting for our next episode? Tim, Sophie?
Well, for our next episode, we hope to talk more about how our clients would be, or potential clients would be working with VAs. Like, what is the first thing that they should expect when they are working with VAs? So that's going to be for our next episode, guys.
Okay, what to expect. So, and well, any additional topic that you would want to discuss, Tim, for the next episode?
I think really it's trying to answer that fundamental question of I'm thinking about this.
Yep.
How do I decide to make the next step? What is the benefit, right? Every business owner is looking for that ROI. I have this idea.
That's right.
Right. It's going to cost me some resources. What's going to be the value in that? And so I think that's a really important part that we get into in the next session is talking about what is that return on investment, return on experience you're going to get through We Are Solutions.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see the ROI, the return of investment of all of these. So, well, thank you very much, Tim, Sophie, for this very first episode of Busy Bees and Brews.
Yep.
For Team We Are. So, do you want to do a shout out? Where's my glass? Cheers to you guys there. And thank you very much for answering all of these wonderful questions that most of your clients and most of the VAs would actually really want to know on how to go through this kind of task or business.
Awesome.
Thanks so much, Hilary. It's been wonderful spending the morning with you.
Thanks, Hilary.
It's a pleasure. Always a pleasure, Tim, Sophie. Thank you very much for joining us for the very first episode. This is Hilary Johnson.
And I'm Tim.
And this is Sophie for
Busy Bees and Brews.